The shoujo took a shit and disappeared, but fear not, as slightly over 3 weeks ago a brand new VTuber group dropped, the very aptly named VTARDS, a group of silly billy girls who want to engage in pushing the status quo through edgy humour. When seeing their name and the lineup, I thought they're trying a little bit too hard, and turns out I was more or less correct, as since their announcement it looks like the group has already fallen upon some pretty hard times. One of them started attacking another over being a pedophile. One of them turned out to be legitimately fond of Adolf Hitler, but she has to do her worship quietly because she lives with her parents. One of them already left the group, and one of them is a 34-year-old who spends a disproportionate amount of time for someone that age engaging in vitriol on Twitter, only to then turn around and do the whole woe is me, people are mean to me, please give me sympathy spiel, whilst also simultaneously yapping about how since she joined this cool group, other VTubers no longer want to associate with her. Am I missing anything? Oh yeah, you know that little Hitlerite? During the drama about to show you, she hurt herself in the confusion, and she accidentally, I think, or at least hope, implied that she herself is in fact a nonce. They were laughed at by the broader VTuber community, they were laughed at in the virtual asylum, they were laughed at in 4chan, and now they will be laughed at by us. I'm Chris, remember to like and to subscribe.
Now this might strike some viewers as harsh, but I believe everyone involved in this story should die.
On July 10th, Akemi Kurai announced that a super base new VTuber group of hers has dropped, one involving 5 based creators who want to go against that which is deemed politically correct, to battle the lefty craziness and make it clear that comedy is legal again. The same people who also get very upsetty spaghetti if you joke about a topic that they have an emotional attachment to, as already made evident by their infighting. The first sign of trouble was immediate, but no surprise there really. Kitsu, an entirely different VTuber, responded with the following. Couple of thoughts. If you call yourself based, you are not based. The name VTARD is funny, and I find it funny that so many are seething at the name, but Nachisu Miku seems to actually enjoy Nazi ideologies, and not just the haha edgy joke, but like legitimately. To which Akemi, keeping a cool head now that, you know, she's in charge of an entire VTuber group, responded with, I wanted to like you, Kitsu. I kinda pegged you as retarded as soon as you were defending Islam in my replies and showing how uneducated you are about it. You deleted the reply and unfollowed me after everyone told you that you were wrong. I wanted to give you a second chance because a lot of people who like me like you as well, but it seems I was right in my initial suspicion. LOL. A very mild cat fight, really? Except the part where Kitsu points out that Nachisu might be a legit Nazi, and Akemi isn't denying it. Nachisu was quick to jump in and clarify that she is in fact a Nazi, with an obviously censored image because God forbid Nazis stand on business. Why would you when there's ad revenue to be made? Oh, and apologies in advance, there's a lot of AI art involved with these people. All of it looks fucking atrocious, but it's sort of important to include for context, so you'll have to make do. And this is obviously Nachisu saying, oh, you thought I was joking, and it's her in a Nazi-esque uniform. Now, being first exposed to Nachisu, I thought that she's a glowy. There's no way that this isn't an FBI agent having the time of their life, I thought. Between the voice changer, the goofy AI art, the try-hard personality, and the fact that when requested to say the N-word, she sounds like a 13-year-old in a COD lobby who really wants to say it, but doesn't want his parents to hear it. But no, she's just that retarded, I think. Not to mention that, as I just said, it often sounds like she's talking very quietly, which makes people think that she does it so that either her parents or her neighbours don't hear her Nazi-ass takes. I personally don't know if that part is true, but it is funny to think how she's already very clearly a Nazi wannabe, but feels like she's afraid to commit to the ideology. Adolf must be rolling in his grave. When you play the clips of her saying the N-word, it literally looks like, because of her dogshit rigging, like she's looking left and right if she's in the clear to say the bad word. Now, I can't play the audio for obvious reasons, but feel free to join my Discord if you want some linkies. If not, then you'll just have to take my word for how pathetic it sounds. Nachisu, you're a racist, saying the N-word. Put some fucking passion into it. How can you stumble over a slur? You're supposed to let it rip. You're supposed to give me something to truly work with. This is somehow more pathetic than Melanie Mack saying the F slur. Don't cite the deep magic to me, witch. I was there when it was written. Now, I understand that I'm coming across fucking psychotic, but I come from a very different area and time of the internet, and I remember people like Eric Stryker, or some people that Jubilee keeps inviting on their show, and I remember how when you fought these people, you fucking fought them. It was a proper shootout, like in a western. I think that if Daddy Hitler looked down on Nachisu, he'd shoot himself in the head all over again. The backlash from all of this, however, was a spoonful more than our Nazi queen over here was expecting, so she did what all the Nazis do. Started posting on Twitter. First, she said, "The opinions and positions I have are mine and mine alone. Guild by association is absolutely cringe and retarded. Just because we are nice to each other doesn't mean we agree with each other on everything. The VTARDS have different beliefs on all sides. And for what it's worth, I do make jokes too, okay? Not everything is super entirely literal all the time 24/7. I am a human, okay?" And so this, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call cowardice in its purest form. She wants to be an edgy Hitlerite, she wants the Hitlerite audience, but when too many people call her a retarded fucking freak, she clarifies that actually some of it were just jokes. And also, no. I know Nazis have a rough time thinking in general, but when you're the bottom of the barrel scumfuck, like the Nazis, you taint everyone around you. And I'm sorry, maybe it's my Polish sensibilities, maybe it's my lefty sensibilities, maybe it's all of that combined, but when you tolerate Nazis, I don't care if you're not quite one of them. Then Nachisu responded to the Kitsu tweet I showed you earlier, where she apparently took issue with the objectively true take that nobody who calls themselves based is actually based. And she said the following: "Who the fuck is going around calling themselves based? I've never called myself based, like, ooh, look at my take, it's so based. Never done that." Now, I don't know if she's illiterate. Could be, given that she's, a Nazi. Or if she's just broadly retarded. Again, very much could be, because, the Nazi. Or maybe this is just a combination of all of the sort of cons that come from being of a weaker breed, really. Which, again, probably yes, because she's a Nazi wannabe. But Kitsu was very clearly referring to what Akemi does, which is calling herself based quite frequently, really. She's done that in a profile bio, she's done that in a pinned tweet, she's done that in the tweet that introduced VTARDS. She literally described them as 5 based anime girls. Now, all of this caused a lot of turmoil in general that hit other members of the group. Here's what Shiro, who has since left the group, but more on that later, had to say about it. "Those who are accusing me of being a Nazi by association need to read this." And it's a quote tweet of Nachisu's take that, guild by association is bad. I mean, I'd say that forming a group with someone like that makes for legit grounds for guild by association, but you do you. Then Nines, a different member of the group, said, "Just because I'm in a group with people who have strong or controversial views doesn't mean I share every single one of them. I believe in free speech. Everyone is allowed an opinion, even if I don't agree with it. I'm not here to police others, and I won't be policed either. If that bothers you, don't follow me, don't watch me. No one's making you, but you're not going to dictate how I live, who I associate with, or what I stand for. Free speech means just that, freedom, and I'm not giving that up just to make you comfortable." And then Saturn, the last member of the group, agreed with Nines. Nines also complained about threats she's received since the group was created, saying it's kinda insane, I literally did nothing wrong except join a controversial group who each has their own independent thoughts and views, and now I have people foaming at the mouth for me to kill myself. She then did a poll on Twitter for whether she should kill herself, and then quote tweeted that poll saying, "It's fucking insane watching people I've never met froth at the mouth and celebrate the idea of me dying, because I'm in a group with a pixelated Nazi caricature, and because I don't buy into the trans women are biological women narrative." Now, obviously, people in the VTARD group getting death threats is insane and should be disavowed. But what do you think was going to happen, you daft mouth breather? Obviously, people telling you to fetus deletus yourself are mental, but what do you think was gonna happen? Not to mention that the actual result of the poll is 80% of the people saying no and 20% saying yes. 20 to 80 aren't bad odds, given how much hate these moppers are attracting day in and day out. Nines is a 34-year-old Nazi enabler who spends her day posting dogshit AI art and fighting random people on Twitter, which makes her look like she's mentally crashing out. So maybe just take a few days away from the internet, pet a dog, pluck a flower to admire it, touch some grass? Like, what is wrong with you? And all of this, mind you, over Nachisu Miku, a legit weak breed Nazi wannabe who can't debate any other views to save her life, and whose racism is so milquetoast and boring that she'd be outdone by a random teenager in Call of Duty. Not to mention that this is a person that they can't even collab with because she's banned on Twitch. They've created a VTuber group that can't do collab streams as a full group unless they all, for the duration of the collab at least, move to the dogshit, pig-fucking, cousin-sucking, deep-fried, double-wide, inbred, corn-fed, Confederate fuck-knuckle hellhole known as Rumble. I suppose they could do YouTube, but the fact that Nachisu streams on Rumble and not on YouTube to begin with indicates to me that she's either already been banned on there or knows she would be very quickly, which is truly a pathetic turn of events for everyone involved. Now, this beef between Kitsu and Akemi carried on for some time, with Akemi throwing out bangers like "I hope you get raped" and "You're ugly," which are both weird and also sort of curious given that Akemi herself was in the past showing up on the Kitsu's post praising her looks. Keep in mind, almost everything I've showed you so far is happening on July 11th, a day after these weaklings decided to combine their 5 rings of incompetence, cringe, grift, fed posting and delusion to become Captain Retard. These idiots made a thread in the VT board on 4chan and got immediately absolutely annihilated by Anons. Now, at this point, it's not exactly clear to me who they're trying to appeal to. Normies are obviously going to hate them because of the Hitler particles everywhere around them. People who like edgy humor usually want, actual edgy humor that these people seem to be incapable of, and the more extreme Anons hate them for the incompetence and the general fed posting. Like, who is this for? Why are we here? Just to suffer? I'll end this segment with one final gem from Nachisu Miku, which is where she was replying to someone on Twitter and said, "Fair enough, the only thing I don't support with the Nazis on is killing people. Everything else I basically fully support, not a joke." And so what has this been on? Killing people to Nazis is what Lolicon is to Ref Says Desu, or what streaming is to DSP, or what unemployment benefit is to most VTuber fans. You can't really have one without the other. I don't know what this Tootsie Roll thinks the Nazi ideology even is anymore. This is just sad. Nachisu Miku is a lonely, attention-seeking cretin. She doesn't need a VTuber group, she needs a carer. On that note, before the video ends, let's move on to the other big part of this mess, the Lolicons versus the Nazis. As all of this mess was unfolding, the second tower was struck. In one of their discords, Shiro, the person who has since left VTARDS, was fighting with Nachisu over Lolicon. I'm not going to read through all of their messages for you, but the bottom line is that Nachisu Miku didn't know that everyone in a group is a Lolicon, so she called Lolicons nonsense. Shiro fought her on it, and then ended up leaving the group over it. As a side note, I absolutely adore the idea of an internet pocket somewhere out there where a Nazi wannabe believes they have a moral high ground over a Lolicon. I'd hate to be a part of it, but I love looking in from the outside, like I'm watching animals in a zoo, you know? As Shiro left the group, she dropped the following tweet. "As of right now, I'll be stepping away from VTARDS. Do not make assumptions until you know the full story, please. I believe that what started as a joke has gone too far and has opened up some dangerous paths. If you want to unfollow me for my choice, that's your right. I understand that by doing this, I may receive waves of harassment from viewers of the other group members. Please do not harass others on my behalf. This was my decision, one that has been quite some time in the making. I thought that Nachisu's views were ironic, not real, but it's becoming increasingly apparent that she genuinely believes in these things. Akemi's aggression is getting to a point that I can't support, and because I know the screenshot will likely be taken out of context for some narrative, I don't care about Lolicon shit. I don't consume it, but I don't give a fuck about fiction." Few things here. For starters, Ever since I started getting more involved with VTuber content, I've never stopped being amazed at how legitimately incompetent these people are. Shiro unironically did the "I thought you guys were joking" meme because, as it turns out, she did absolutely zero research into who the fuck she's getting in bed with. Now, to be clear, good on her for leaving. That needs to be said. I applaud her decision, genuinely. Other idiots involved in this lack the spine to do what Shiro did, and that should be praised. However, it's absolutely embarrassing that at no point Shiro stopped to think if it might be a good idea to look into the other people whose tag will be stapled next to your name. Nachisu came forward with some very based takes like child abuse bad and Shiro is a nonce, except that Nachisu is really fucking stupid and also did no research whatsoever into who she's about to pick a fight with, as one thing that should be abundantly clear to anyone who uses Twitter at this point is that right-wing-esque gamer commentary-like spaces are absolutely filled with lolicons. Nachisu said the following: "If child rape art is just fiction, why did you scribble it out? I'm okay with Lolis as cute characters, but art of literal child rape, nope, not one bit. Disgusting." Now, as I just mentioned, Nachisu didn't quite yet at this point make the connection between right-wing-esque commentary and lolicons, so this was made very apparent to her when people started shitting on her, so Nachisu did as Nachisu does and started walking everything back. First, she said that calling lolicon child rape is wrong, and then she dropped a second banger, almost as good as the "I agree with the Nazis on everything but the killing," or maybe, depending on how charitable you want to be with your reading of this, a much fucking worse statement than that one. And it's the following: "For me, art of lolis is fine if even in some cases of sexual suggestive depictions. I draw the line at literal porn of lolis showing genitalia and or performing sexual acts. I don't care what the VTuber community thinks, this is my stance, I will not move." Okay, so somebody tell me down below if my brain ain't braining, and also remember to like and subscribe. She draws the line at literal porn because she connotates it with CP. But sexually suggestive depictions are fine. Full-on porn ain't, because it's CP. But sexually suggestive is fine. So in her mind, sexually suggestive depictions of children are fine? It's like she's desperately trying to eat her cake and have it too, but got confused in the process, so she came out as a nonce. Then Miku finally said, "The point of the VTARDS group is to challenge the norms and push the status quo, not to make slightly unserious jokes and try to fit back in with the group that hates us. I don't think she knows what she's signed up for and has no idea what right-wing or based means." Which is interesting, because now she's describing herself and her group as based, the very thing she earlier ridiculed and said she'd never do, and 2, outed herself as somebody who doesn't know what the fuck status quo means or is. The story doesn't quite end here either, as there's something new to talk about every day, and in this case it's another example of dogshit AI art where Nachisu Miku's holding a gun and saying "we're going to fucking kill you" in response to The Onion. So Nachisu Miku, the Nazi who likes Nazis in every way but the killing part of the ideology, is threatening to kill someone on Twitter. Of course she says "we" because let's be real, who is this fucking idiot gonna shoot? She labels herself a Nazi and she's afraid of ripping the N-word properly. Who is she gonna shoot? Google is telling me that there are approximately 526 unintentional firearm deaths annually. So don't give this fucking idiot a gun or that number's gonna go up to 527 when she pops herself. Do you know what the best part about all of this is? Everything I told you so far is just the tip of the iceberg. This video is called The End of the Beginning because it only features the events that happened very early in the existence of VTARDS. My next video is going to be called The Beginning of the End, where I tell you all about how Nines has already left the group and is still crying on Twitter, and Nachisu Miku is in fact not a woman, but actually catfished his entire audience, as in reality it's a Groiper dude infatuated with Nick Fuentes. Akemi also got outed as having sausage fingers, but I personally don't really care about that. I just want to mention it because it's something new with these morons every single day. Let's leave that for the next time though. If you enjoyed this and want to see more of this type of content, feel free to let me know down below. Remember to like, to subscribe, and to follow me on all my other social media. In the meantime, special thanks to my patrons, whose names you will be seeing on screen in just a second, and I'll talk to you all very, very soon.